Riza, licensed clinical social worker, test prep guru, your personal hype squad, whatever you need me to be to help you level up and pass that exam. Today, I'm not even going to jump into what we're talking about today. First, I want to let you know it doesn't matter if you're a first timer or a repeat test taker, this is the place you're going to get the tools, the strategy, and the mindset you need to level up and pass your exam. And as you all know, I'm always saying I'm happy, I'm excited, this is a banger, all that good stuff. I'm going to let you guys decide. Today, we're talking about neurodevelopmental disorders, and I'm going to simplify it in the best way I know how to make sure that you know exactly what you're looking for in the ASWB exam. I want you to be able to look at the features of ADHD, of the autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, and the intellectual disability, ID. Are there others? Yes, but we're going to focus on those three. You know why? Because your girl likes to focus on what's most likely on the exam and not what could be on the exam. Most likely or coulda, shoulda, there's a difference there. So we're going to differentiate these disorders using the exam-friendly language, and we're going to go over some examples, and you're going to apply all the knowledge, and I'm going to give you some questions and all that good stuff. So let's jump right in. First, let's look at why this matters. Like when you take the ASWB exam, you're hit with a lot of different diagnoses. Sometimes you know them, sometimes you don't. But it's important to understand the symptoms, the onset, and the key differentials when it comes to certain diagnoses so you don't get tricked up. So when we're talking about neurodevelopmental disorders, this is a broad range of disorders. These disorders fall under the umbrella of ADHD, autism spectrum. You also have some learning disorders, some motor disorders, all that good stuff like the Tourette's and things of that nature. It all falls kind of under this umbrella. And although it's really important for us to know and understand as a clinician, as someone that's going to be practicing and working with individuals, you don't have to know them all because all of them are not going to be on the exam, but you want to have an idea. So what I like to say is we use the process of elimination. If I teach you autism, ADHD, and some intellectual disabilities or disorders, you will be able to know and understand those. So if a question does have something on there pertaining to a diagnosis under neurodevelopmental disorders that you don't know, it's okay, babe, because you know the others. So you can eliminate and say, it's definitely not that, it's definitely not that, but it could be that. That's the purpose of me sharing a lot of information about certain things, but not all the information on everything, if that makes sense. So now that we're talking about this umbrella of neurodevelopment disorders, we have the ADHD, ASD, and ID. I want you to understand that these disorders are usually diagnosed in childhood, but you can see them sometime as an adult. How many times have you been working with someone and you're like, they seem like they could be on the spectrum, or it seems like they could have a learning disability or some type of intellectual disability, but they've never been formally diagnosed. Typically, these symptoms were showing their head in their early childhood or sometimes throughout their childhood, but maybe they didn't get the services or the support, or the parents or whoever was the guardian didn't know how to proceed or how to get the assistance and the help they needed. So that was something that wasn't looked into. But now as an adult, you can clearly see how it's preventing them from getting to certain places and and obtaining certain things in their lives. So I want to clarify that these disorders are typically diagnosed in childhood. However, they may persist into adulthood. All right, so let's do a deep dive. Let's talk about ADHD. ADHD, you have that inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity, and normally these symptoms are before the age of 12. Now, there's some subsets. You have predominantly inattentive type, predominantly hyperactivity type, or you can have them combined. A lot of you are self-diagnosing yourself and others around you, so you probably say you're combined. But those are pretty much the types. So someone can have ADHD and they can have inattentive type, or they can have hyper impulsive type, if that makes sense. Hopefully you dropping what I'm throwing down. If not, put it in the comment section that you need me to elaborate or to assist in a certain area. So let's talk about some key differentiators when it comes to those different types. You have distractibility versus normal daydreaming. The impact can be on school, work, and relationships. And some examples on the ASWB exam might say, think of one real quick. Harry has difficulty focusing in the class. He seldom loses focus and is unable to complete tasks in a timely manner. Although this happens in school, his mother shared him having difficulty performing tasks at home as well. So the reason I added that is because with ADHD, you have to show the symptoms in 2 or more settings. So a lot of times we hear about children having ADHD and symptoms when they're in school. That's cool, but they also have to have it someplace else. So that is the key. You want to be able to assess and find out whether the individual is having these symptoms in other places in their lives as well. Hopefully that makes sense. So basically, if we stick with ADHD for a little bit and we talk about some of those things that you might see, that will be an example of an ASWB style question. That's me just coming off the riff. I didn't get a chance to write it down, type it out and all that stuff. I'm just giving you an idea of how it might be presented and you'll say, that person likely has ADHD. All right, guys, real quick. I'm always talking about the community, the LCSW vibes. We leveling up. And this is the sneak peek of the community. As you can see, it's on and popping. We got a lot happening. I got ethics over here, human development, or study guides that you guys asked me about on the YouTube channel. It's all right there. Test questions. You just want to level up and learn and see if you can answer those questions. I'm testing your knowledge. Let me go back to the home screen. If you want to learn more about what services I offer and what other things are there, that is where you go to the learning tabs. We leveling up, so why don't you join so you can level up too. Now let's talk about that autism spectrum disorder. Some features here are deficits in social communication and interaction, restricted and repeated behaviors, and typically with autism, you see these symptoms show themselves in early childhood. Like we're talking 2 years old, 3 years old, around that age, you can notice that something's going on with the child and realize that they're having some deficits in those areas and it's something you might want to look into. They might have some sensory sensitivities, like, don't like loud noises, sound, maybe also some language delays. Maybe they're a little bit late with playing potty train. Maybe they're having some difficulties when it comes to engaging or interacting or showing eye contact. All of these are things that you would look at and you would wonder and you would try to figure out or assess early on. We're talking 2 and 3. Sometimes parents see these things going on, but they don't decide to seek treatment until the child is later in life, which is kind of hard or difficult to kind of help them improve in certain areas. It doesn't mean they can't, but if you know a child has a language delay at 2 or 3, you can tell if they're able to talk and they're using certain words. And if you realize, hey, they're not really doing that, but I'm gonna give it more time, that's fine. But if you would have gotten support early on, they could have been connected with like maybe a speech therapist and someone else to assist them in that language development, where by the time they're 4 or 5, they could have been caught up with their peers. So that is the purpose of what? Early intervention. Yes, social workers, you know all about that early intervention. So when it comes to autism spectrum, there are 3 different severity specifiers. You can have level 1, level 2, or level 3. And basically you can distinguish which level it is based on the functioning. And I don't have my DSM in front of me. That is pretty much over there in the corner. I could go grab it. You see that little purple book in the corner? So I have it. I just don't have it in front of me, but that will help break it down. And if you are attending my boot camp, I know for a fact I'm going to spend some time going over the DSM-5, having you show up with it. So if you're coming to the boot camp, make sure you bring your DSM-5. If not, obviously I have some other tools and things that I'll be able to share on my screen and show you. But as a licensed professional, it is important, it is imperative to have in your toolbox your DSM. So even when we're going over this video, if you had your DSM, you can pull it out, go to the neurodevelopmental disorders section, and you'll be able to pull up ADHD or autism spectrum and all those things and kind of follow along and just highlight the key points, because I'm not going through the whole section, but I'm giving you kind of the meat, should I say. But if you read it in its entirety, you're giving yourself the rice and the gravy. You know what I mean? So if that is something you want to do when I'm going over these videos and you're studying, a lot of you are saying you're using your note cards and you're taking notes and you're pausing and you're writing your information. If you are doing that, it would behoove you to also have your DSM with you so you can highlight it. When I'll get my DSM, I might even pause this video and go grab it. You'll see that I have highlights all throughout it, because that's how I've been able to learn and understand which key features and what is most important when trying to learn and improve in my knowledge base as it pertains to certain diagnoses. That is what I recommend for you guys to do. The other tool that I recommend you guys have is WA. Yes. The Social Work Dictionary. The Social Work Dictionary is also a tool that will help you. In this dictionary, it has all these words, everything in there that you need to know. I can open up right now the definition of a consultant. Some people just study with this alone. This is the 5th edition. It's so old, it might be a 10th edition at this point. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, the Social Work Dictionary and the DSM-5, they actually have a new version, the TR version. You might want to invest in that. That is something that you definitely want to invest in. You want to have, because you're going to need it throughout your career. It's just super important to have. It's kind of like a doctor not having a stethoscope or a doctor not having a thermometer. And maybe they don't really need that, but the nurse does. I don't really know. You can't be in certain professions without having all the tools. I mean, you can be, but it's going to be kind of like, What's that about? So you just want to be mindful of having certain tools to put in your toolbox when it comes to enhancing your knowledge and enhancing your skills when it comes to this license thing. So now that we talked a little bit about ASD and ADHD, you want to make sure that you can understand and you can distinguish the difference between those two. Now let's talk about that third one, that intellectual disability. Now, intellectual disability is also ID. It used to be in the DSM, maybe, let's see, when I was actually taking the exam, it wasn't called intellectual disabilities. It was actually called like mental retardation, and you had mild, moderate, severe. And of course, that is inappropriate, and we don't use that term anymore, and it's outdated, and you guys will get canceled if you use it. So I'm only telling you this for the purpose of this video. So don't you go using the wrong terms. All right. And then don't go back saying, oh, LCSW Vibes or Riza or Coach A or whatever you guys refer to me as told me that this was something that we used. Because I did not say that. I said that's what I used when I took the exam. And we're talking over a decade ago. So right now, you need to come up to speed with what's happening in this year. And we use intellectual disability. Now, intellectual disability is when you have deficits in your intellectual functioning. So how you reason, how you problem solve, how you deal with social environments, like practical stuff, conceptual stuff, all of that kind of stuff. There's some deficits there. That is pretty much when someone is diagnosed with intellectual disability. And the onset has to be before the age of 18. So again, let's go back it up a little bit. Yes, you might have your 25-year-old friend, cousin, neighbor, or somebody who never been diagnosed with intellectual disability show these symptoms. Unfortunately, it will make it very difficult for them to get certain services. However, it's very possible that they had these symptoms. It just wasn't addressed or brought to the limelight. No one did that at that time. So that is something you need to be mindful of. But typically the onset is before the age of 18. There are severity levels with this thing too. You got mild, you got moderate, and you got severe, and you have profound. So those 4 categories did not change, even when it was the other one, the one I'm not going to say, but the one I used when I took the exam. So keep in mind there are different levels, and you want to understand it. And to better understand which level a client is, you need your DSM-5. Yes, because when you open it up, it'll have a list of things to let you know where your client is to determine whether they have mild, moderate, severe, or levels of intellectual disability. So please keep that in mind and make sure you have your DSM-5. Hey guys, I stopped by to tell you this. You do not have to win alone. Absolutely not. People in the community are winning each and every day. The proof is in the pudding. Go in the community. It's free. We're throwing down test questions, case studies, the FNBM method, all the details and everything you need so you can succeed. Click the link in the bio and join. You don't need to do this alone. See you soon. It's really important to assess their adaptive functioning, not just the IQ. A lot of times we focus on that IQ. And the IQ does show at a certain number there in this range and a certain number in this range. However, it's really important to understand how they are adapting when it comes to their adaptive skills. I'm sorry, I'm using the same word. But when it looks at their adaptive skills, you need to assess and see how well they do in certain areas. That will help you determine what severity level that individual has. So hopefully that makes sense for you and you're able to kind of get what I'm throwing at you. So when we look at differentiating these diagnoses, you have ADHD, which you have the inattentive type and you have the hyperactivity. You also have ASD, where you have that social deficits, the repetitive behaviors, all that stuff. And then you have the ID. They have those global delays and adaptive functioning deficits. All of those things can kind of help you remember and put them in a category to understand. So if it's giving you a scenario of, let's say, Bobby is a 17-year-old male who has difficulty tying his shoe, doing his everyday ADLs, and often has a hard time expressing himself verbally. We can see there that the individual is likely to be where? With ADHD, ASD, or ID? ID, because those adaptive functioning skills are showing a deficit. That is how you look at it. Now, if I say that Billy is a 5-year-old child who still does not speak and talk as well as his peers, he's able to brush his teeth and do normal ADLs, but he's really sensitive to loud noises and he has a hard time adjusting to change. Then we're like looking at that ASD. So you can see there's some similarities and some overlaps when it comes to these diagnoses. However, that is why it's so important to get that DSM-5 so you can really look at it and differentiate which is which. I hope this is helpful for you. I didn't want this video to be long, but I wanted you guys to truly understand it. I cannot emphasize it's important on the exam to look for keywords like persistent, onset in childhood, functioning impairment. These are the type of things that you're looking for when it's helping you analyze or assess which diagnosis is most appropriate and what you're looking at when it comes to the clients. So really important to do that. And of course, your girl got you. I know. I wasn't going to share my screen. I was just going to talk to you, give you some points and all that good stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I'm going to give you some questions, just some practice questions so you can kind of know what this looks like. I know I went off on a whim and kind of created some in my own head as I was talking and dialoguing with my people. But I want to make sure you have something that you can look at visually and see how it might be presented on the exam so you can have a better idea of how to answer it and assist you in your process. Now, before I do that, share my screen, show you the questions and all that good stuff, I want to pause for a moment. I want to pause for a moment and ask you, why are you not in the community? Yes, I'm talking to you because I got over 400 people in that community now. So we're growing at rapid speed. Like, it's a lot. And all of them are getting my attention individually. Yes, they're messaging me. We're talking on the phone. We're doing video chats. We're doing what we need to help you level up and pass the exam. So if you're stuck and you're studying alone, this is the community you need to join and be attached to. Remember, it's your community with people who are like-minded, just like you, who are trying to level up, pass this exam, and get those 4 letters behind their name. So join it now. The information is in the bio. Also, a lot of you guys are like, how do I contact you? How do I find out about this course? How do I find out about that? And sometimes it can be really repetitive in giving you guys the information. So we simplify. Yes, me and my IT guy, or should I say my website guy, or he's just my sidekick. He helps make all this happen, whether it comes to the course, the content, and everything. He's a life changer, a game changer, a lifesaver, should I say. I'm truly grateful for him. And what we have done is created my website. It's ArizaHillman.com. Yes, ARISZ is in zebra, Hillman. That's HILLMAN. Yes, I know you guys that all watched Different World back in the day. Hillman College, Hillman University. Yeah, that is it. ArizaHillman, all one word.com. You visit that website, you're going to be able to get everything you need from me. So if you're watching this YouTube channel, you're here for test prep. However, I do have another one that's trying to get another website and another YouTube channel for those that are trying to get down with me as it pertains to growing and scaling their private practice, or starting as a solo practice, spanning to a group practice, whatever it is. I don't care. If you're trying to be a supervisor and you don't want to do private practice, I'm the girl for it. Yes, that is my second love. I'm going to say second love because I'm talking to you guys, but when I'm on that page, I'm probably calling it my first love. But anyways, you can check me out at coachingtheelite.com. Yes, I don't put as much content out there as I do on this because my attention is really trying to help you licensed folks get over there to the other page, to the other side, and free you from feeling stressed and stuck and unable to elevate. So that channel will definitely help you do that. Without further ado, I'm going to jump ahead and share these questions, but I had to share with you that website because I had not done so in a while. Are you studying for the LCSW or LMSW exam? Don't waste time on the wrong prep. Try my test prep program for free with a full module that gives you the real strategies, the real practice, and real results. Plus, you get access to my exclusive test prep community where you'll find support, study material, and accountability. No risk, no stress, just results. Click the link in the bio so you can get ready to win with the winning team. All right, so here we go. I'm sharing my screen right now, and I got these questions up on there for you so you guys can make sure that you're able to apply, understand the information, and go from there. Now, it's kind of small, so what I'm going to do, because I know people are like, oh, I saw it, Miss Vibes, and it was so small, so I'm making it as large as possible. That might be a little stretch, but I think it's large enough for me too, so I can see it. I hope you guys can see it, and we're going to go through these quick 3 questions. I'm sure you guys going to know what the answer is going to just come flowing at you, but let's just do it together just to make sure. All right, number 1, a social worker is assessing a 7-year-old boy who has difficulty following instruction, often leave his seat during class, and interrupts others during conversation. His teacher reports that he seems to zone out at times and is easily distracted. The boy's mother states these behaviors have been present since preschool. He's 7 years old, All right, what is the most likely diagnosis? Do you think this child has autism spectrum disorder, which is A? Do you think he has attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which is B? Or do you think he has an intellectual disorder? C. All right, perfect. You guys are absolutely right. But let me go ahead and tell you why it's that answer first. He often leaves his seat during class. He's 7, difficulty following instructions, interrupts others during conversation, and he seems to zone out and is easily distracted. And Mom Dukes said this has been happening since he was in preschool. So this is a classic case of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So you guys got it. That is an easy way to see it, to point it out, and to understand it's that versus that. All right, let's go over the second question. During an intake, a social worker meets with the parents of a 4-year-old girl who exhibits limited eye contact. They prefer to play alone and engages in repetitive hand flapping behaviors. The parents note that she uses few words and has difficulty responding to her name. What is the most likely diagnosis? Autism spectrum disorder, specific learning disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So I'm ruling out ADHD because we already saw the classic symptoms for that one. So I'm looking at autism spectrum and specific learning disorder. Now, I'm also going to rule out specific learning disorder because it doesn't show a specific thing that this child is struggling with as it pertains to them learning. So we know this 4-year-old child is the limited eye contact. They like to play alone. They have that repetitive hand flapping behavior, and they have difficulty responding to their name and uses few words. Those are classic symptoms of autism spectrum disorder. Yes, you guys are getting it. You're getting it. You're getting it. All right, last but not least. So we have a 10-year-old boy. He's referred to the social worker due to academic challenges. This child's IQ score falls within the normal range. However, he struggles significantly with reading and math compared to his peers. His teacher describes him as cooperative and friendly. What is most likely his diagnosis? All right, they're trying to get us here. Nah, I told you guys they don't try to get us. But this is a classic indication that this individual has an intellectual disability because his IQ scores fall within normal range. However, I can see someone getting tricked up on this question because it does say that he struggles significantly with reading and math. Now, if the question was talking about all these things and it said that he struggles specifically with reading or, language or whatever, that would be a specific learning disorder. So we would be leaning towards that. But because everything is because of all the academic challenges and the low IQ range, we can just overall say there's some intellectual disability here. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you were able to kind of look at it and see and visually understand that's why the individual has that. Sometimes it's easier for us to kind of put it's easier for us to kind of put a name or when you're looking at a diagnosis, you're able to kind of look at the question and kind of, that's what it is. Visually see it is what I'm trying to say. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope you found it easy to kind of understand and engage and all that good stuff. I do want to share with you that if you feel like you need to hone in on these questions, you need more content, you need more support, all that kind of stuff, your girl got you. And I'm pausing for a moment because I really want you to understand that I got you. Yes, I got you. There's some of you who have actually just called me to talk to me before your test date just because you're nervous and you had a lot of anxiety and you just wanted somebody to talk to you and let you know that you got this. You got this. Somebody the other day I was talking to them and they said they hella smart. And I couldn't do nothing but laugh because you all are. You all are geniuses. You all have everything it takes to pass this exam. And for some reason, you've been told that you don't. Some reason you feel like you don't. Some reason you didn't pass or you didn't push through or something happened where you haven't elevated and gotten that test pass yet. So you're starting to doubt yourself. And I'm here to tell you that your time just wasn't ready. It just wasn't then, but it can be now. You give it your all and you push forward. I will meet you every step of the way. That is what I tell people. People come to me all the time and say, look, I've invested in this, and this, and I wish I met you first. That's the common statement I hear 99% of the time when someone reaches out to me is, I wish I met with you, or I wish I knew of you, or I wish I heard of you before I invested in this, and this. And my answer to you guys is not too late. Maybe what you have is working. You just need a little bit of support in the process to get the answers, to get the things going. So that's when you can just join the coaching community. Or maybe what you have is just not, and doesn't matter how much you push it. It's kind of like pushing a square peg into a circle. It's just not working. And you have to decide if you want to keep investing in this test, spending a few $100s every time and not passing it, or do you just want to make another investment and rock out with that the whole way? I'm not guaranteeing that if you work with me, it's 100% chance you're going to win and you're going to pass. However, I can guarantee I'm going to work with you until you do. And that's a promise that not a lot of people can make. So keep that in mind when you make your decision. And if you met me too late and you've already already invested in some things, stick with what you got. But tell a friend or someone else so they don't have to have those struggles and they can start early on with somebody that's going to hold their hand through the process and help them get that win. I hope this video helped you. I hope you understand how this can help you elevate and understand and distinguish the difference between ASD, ADHD, and ID, the intellectual disability disorders. And if it was complex and you're like, I still don't get it, just watch the video again. You know what I mean? Just watch the video again. If you're in my course, I don't want to hear any excuses because you know you can reach out to me and ask your girl to explain it to you or give it to you in some other terminology. I don't know. I only speak English, but I can assist you in whichever way I can to get the message across in the way that you're able to understand it. That is pretty much what I consider my gift, and that is pretty much what I'm pouring into you guys so you can elevate and get this license. That is my main goal, my main priority. I'm invested in you so you can get that win. So join the community, or better yet, just like this video and share it with somebody. You know, just join the video, like it somebody. And for those of you who joined the channel, yes, I got some people who are actually joining the YouTube channel. Yes, it's a small investment of $9.99 a month, I believe. Yes, that's what YouTube got up there. It's $9.99 a month. And what I'm doing is you get my videos before anybody else. But I know that's not enough because you like, look, I can wait a few days. I don't need to pay that to get it. But I'm jumping on, I'm giving you my lives. So I have people on TikTok, people on Instagram, and everybody else saying, hey, do you ever do lives? Do you ever jump on and do lives? I'm doing it for my people. So if you're a member, I'm doing my first live Friday, which I don't know when this video is going to post. So I don't even want to say the date, but I'm doing it on a Friday. And that's pretty much what I'm thinking I'm going to do moving forward is on Friday. It's going to be my going live day. And I'm going to jump up here about 15 minutes, 30 minutes, however long you keep your girl up there. But I'm trying to keep it less than 30 minutes. Less than 30 minutes, definitely less than an hour. And I want to answer your questions. So if you have test questions, you have concerns, you don't know how to figure out something, if you can ask me in that short period of time, I got you. Join the YouTube channel for those lives. If not, just be in a regular community, join the coaching groups. You still get access to me and I'm going to still help you out. It doesn't really matter. It's just for those that just want to ask questions here and there and they just want to bless me in the process. Until the next one, see you. Have an amazing day.